And we are live.
Hi, very good evening, everybody. Yeah, I hope you all are doing good. My name is Ayush, and I'm going to be the presenter for this session. So before we start this session, I'll just take a few seconds to introduce myself. My name is Ayush Burman, and I've been associated with MBA Litmus since last 6 years. And talking about my professional journey, so I have been into consulting. I have been into industry in the strategy roles. I've done my MBA from IIM Indore back in 2022. Prior to coming to IIM Indore, I had done my majors in economics from Kirodimal College, University of Delhi. I had a commerce background with mathematics. So that's all about myself regarding my journey pre and post MBA. Uh, so I'm going to be your mentor or trainer for the Excel Masterclass. So I am just going to present my screen and will make you understand what the entire theme is all about. So just allow me a second and I'll just present my screen. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, talking about Excel and PowerPoint, these two tools are going to be your best friends whenever you start your B school journey. And even after you have completed your MBA, Excel and PowerPoint skills has to be with you in case you want to, do well in your career, irrespective of whatever domain you're gonna follow. Primarily Excel because it is an excellent tool to for data visualization, for data representation, for data analysis. Uh, all of these things combined, makes you a good presenter, makes you a good manager. Uh, And in case you are into roles such as into strategy, into consulting, into finance, also into marketing, so Excel is going to be very useful to you in your upcoming years. So here in Postcat, MBA Litmus, and Launchpad, we train our students different domains which they are going to be using in the upcoming B school journey. So I mostly look after Excel because I have been using Microsoft Excel for the last 3 4 years, and uh, we all grow together, we all learn together, we all do things together. So and therefore, a session is all about. So here we'll talk about the basics that is very much necessary during your MBA tenure. I have tried to make the slides very basic, very user friendly, so that the understanding is clear. Uh, in B school specifically, Excel are primarily used for two, three reasons. First of all, we read a lot of case studies in B school, and in majority of them, they have financials, they have some number crunching involved in it. So basic of mathematical tools is required uh, very much if you want to do data crunching and want to analyze the data that has been given into case studies. Majority of the cases are getting solved that way only. But also, in case you are having a good understanding about PNL, so PNL is not only limited to the statements that we make in during our graduation. If you must have done graduation or plus two, maybe we must have done accounting and finance and pen and paper. In MBA, everything shifts into Microsoft Excel, and the entire P&L preparation, balance sheet, cash flow, and everything happens uh, uh, in Excel only. So, understanding of the mathematical formula, logical formula, and also about the statistical inferences using various graphs and all. So, in case you have good command over this particular thing, definitely your next 2 years is going to be sorted. Uh, Data cleaning is also one of the major aspects which I'm going to talk about in the upcoming. uh, slides. So majorly, if I talk long story short, I'll just use a pointer to make my discussion more relevant and so that the attention is on the right areas. So in Launchpad, we focus on the formulas that are used in our day-to-day lives, the formulas that I, as a consultant, as a strategist, use in my daily life. Some basic dashboard preparation because once the data has been analyzed, when the data has been cleaned, analyzed, the interpretation part has to be very clear. And therefore, we require some sort of a dashboard building as well. Dashboards can be built in Excel very well in case you are having a command over Power BI. Power BI also helps you in making the dashboards really well. However, Power BI is a vast topic and which is specifically made for MIS reporting, graphs and representation and for visualization point of view. But in data assessing, data assessment, data analysis, Excel is a great tool. Then there is Power Query. Power Query basically whenever we want to analyze multiple Excel sheets, I'm just giving a use case for it. Whenever we are analyzing multiple Excel sheets, very heavy Excel files in which all the rows are there. Like for example, we are studying about a sales dump of my company over the last 6, 7 years. One single Excel cannot handle it. So I am having multiple files and I want to run some formulas into it. So I will use Power Query for that. Therefore, then we have pivot tables. Pivot table is basically the summarization of large tables into a smaller window. That is pivot tables, and we'll see also some real life examples in the upcoming cases. So what we do in Launchpad. So again, a quick tricks and hooks, basically, which could be used for cleaning of data, which can be used for processing of data. So some very basic uh, techniques that I have learned in my training span during my consulting days, and even now is flash fill, some shortcuts, some formulas that help in cleaning the files better, that help in making the files lighter, not writing very heavy formulas, but there is always a second way of analyzing a data. So some quick tricks and tips we always impart to our students. Some very useful formulas. Take for example all the lookups, V lookup, H lookup, X lookup. So these all the formulas are very much required and you have to get it right. If you don't know these formulas, your corporate life is going to be very tough. It would be very difficult for you to sustain. Okay, so we do give some sample database to the students, just to give them a hands-on experience on the data, how we normally process the data, what all formulas we use, in what cases what formula is used. So all of these understanding is taken care of, right? Then using the sample files that we have given to the students. Once the analysis part is done, once you have applied all the formulas and everything, once you have made certain pivot tables out of it, we try to make a dashboard, right? A dashboard can simply be understood as basically whenever you represent your data in a summarized manner in table, plus you add certain charts into it. And all of these charts are dynamic in nature. Basically, whenever you put some filter to it, your chart changes, your data changes. So all of these real time things are there, which constitutes a live dashboards. Then we also give them some real, not exactly real, but near to real example of business cases in which we provide them some sales register. We give them some HR related information, which was is very near to what we typically work on. Then definitely we also give them some budget templates whenever you work in corporate. There are if in case you are making a business plan or working on financial modeling. So business plan is nothing but you make a financial statement for the next 5, 6 years of your company. Okay. So one of those aspects is there are different types of budgets that we make. That is, one could be a travel budget, it could be marketing budget, could be R&D budget, could be your IT budget, stuffs like that. All of these are operating expenses basically. So we also give them an idea about how these different budgets look, how these different budgets have an impact on the P&L. So it's not only about Excel that you're going to learn, but also about some sort of a financial statement understanding is also taking side by side. Then then we take up questions towards the end of each session. We open the house for questions. Students participating in these sessions, uh, I personally request them to share the screen, do the formulas in front of all of us so that I also learn, he also learns. And even if the person is making some sort of a mistake, that gets pointed out then and there. So that's pretty much the agenda of all our lectures, whatever we have planned for, uh, at least for Excel point of view. If you were a part of MBA Litmus postcat prep, you must have met me during economics, finance lectures, budget sessions. So therefore, I also come from a finance background. Thereafter, Excel, my Excel classes also brings an element of finance. So some basic, very basic tricks that or formulas that I usually start my sessions with is one of my favorites is going to be control plus E, which is a plan. So this is just an example of how we sensitize students with different formulas, with different tricks that reduces their burden of writing bigger formulas. Suppose one such example is flash fill. Excellent in identifying patterns, excellent in uh, you know f- uh, mm, uh, filling up spots where there are empty data. If I am having a 10,000 cell row data set and there are few line items that are missing in nature and I want to write missing or any in those. So I can use a control G function, then I'll identify the spaces. If I'm given a sales dump or maybe a dump of employee names, I just want to uh, take out the first name of it. So Flash will help me in that. Then we have smart tables, control T, basically, in which we represent a table into a much more structured way in which all the mathematical formulas can be performed very easily. Uh, Auto sum is one there. There is F4 control plus high, sorry, single quote, and then control shift X, which is basically toggling the filter. So basically, all of these are very just not even a bird's eye view, but we just wanted to say that these are very small formulas, but this will save a lot of time. People usually, what they do is these formulas generally we tend to forget, and इसको to apply in the real life, there are ways जो कि बहुत time ले with the multiple way clicks is involved to adding a filter or sorting the files, sorting the table. So there are different longer way to do it, but again, it will take a lot of time. So yeah, some very important formulas that saves our lives. One such example is X lookup. So it is even a smaller version of VLOOKUP in case you guys have worked with VLOOKUP. So I'll just quickly tell you what VLOOKUP looks like or how what problem does it solve. So basically, if I'm having two different tables and two different tables are representing two different data sets of same company, of the same employees, one table could give them our their sales performance over the past 3 years, 5 years, maybe something like that. And the other table is basically the HR table in which their hometown is given along with their names. So if I want to tag the hometown along with their sales figure, I can use VLOOKUP for that. So VLOOKUP, once you get into XLOOKUP, you'll understand that XLOOKUP is even shorter. Sum is there. You must be knowing some function in which we do the summation. If I apply a SUMIF function in which I want to do the summation of a particular line item of a particular set. Suppose I'm given the data of a table in which different salespeople are there and they belong to different nature regions. So I just want to do a sum of north. employees who are from the north. So I use a sum if function, and sum if is basically if I want to do a sum if of summation of people who are north and whose name is suppose uh, Rahul. So in that way, sum ifs can be used. Again, filter unique. So suppose unique क्या होता है कि if I'm having a database of 10,000 line items, I just want to see how many unique values are there. Suppose I'm selling uh, uh, some biscuits. So definitely every day selling biscuits, and there's a fixed number of biscuits I'm selling. So I just want to understand how many unique biscuits are there with me, or have I sold. I'll take the example of uh, unique function. Then there is if error, very important. Suppose uh, I'm applying in formula in which there is a probability that I'll get errors. So if I can write or I can embed if error function before that formula, and I can avoid these hashtag NA problem. Okay, then there is let, sequence, control shift enter, so on and so forth. Okay, again a very basic level stuff. So how do we practice or make live dashboards? So first of all, we make a table, structure table. So we have a raw file. We clean the data. We apply different formulas. We apply different methods to make the data look consistent. Secondly, make the data clean in the same format. Take, for example, dates usually have different formats. Take, for example, if you are, so basically all of these raw data are primary data, which are getting collected from different sources. So different sources may have different methods of doing their work, right? Some people can fill the names of the students in capital letter. Some will fill in small letter. There is a different way one person is writing a date of birth. Some other person may write a different way. So there is ways to clean the data, make it consistent structure. Then we apply pivot to it. So we concise it. Suppose the table is of 10, 15 columns. So there is a way pivot table can help in concising the tables. Then we can identify some KPI metrics. Suppose I want to understand the performance of North region in electronics category. I can do that. Then I can, since I have now gotten a table out of it, I can add chart, I can insert charts, and I can play with the filter slicer, add a slicer to it, and that's how I create a live dashboard. All right, just we will see everything, sample database for all of these things, uh, just in next 5-7 minutes. So there are some real world use cases specifically in corporate and even during the MBA cycle. So we analyze sales data, right? So we work with sales numbers. So take for example, if you are working again in an FMCG company into sales and marketing, so every month you have to give a sales plan to your management, right? So there is a target that you set for yourself. Thereafter, once you have presented that target at the end of that month, in which review meeting happens, there is an achievement that you show. And that's how variances and everything is calculated, achievement versus plan versus action, so on and so forth. So that is one very common way in which the Excel is used. Okay, then we identify the variance deviations. Again, then we try to see how much of a plan versus initial plan that was used to make a business plan. Then there was a revised plan that my regional manager sent to me every month. Then we have performance achievement. Then some HR related information can also be presented, analyzed uh, in Microsoft Excel. Very, very one is a leave tracker or a leave management system is also sometimes managed through leaves, and that's how leave encashment happens. Budget planner, like I told you, different budget could be your any particular function budget, right? Marketing budget is there, travel budget is there. Then you typically find out how much which kind of a budget is what percent of my revenue, just to understand that what is the focus of the management, if they want to spend more on marketing or if they want to spend more on R&D. Then there is project Gantt chart. Again, if I'm working in a consulting project, which has a milestone of which has a period of 6 months, and every month there is some X number of activities that I have to do. So there is a long Gantt chart that can be made, in which step by step all the activities that has to be done is written, and against each of the activities, how much is the timeline that has been associated. So that area is filled or colored, and that's how the Gantt chart looks like. Then there is inventory tracker, inventory log, in which the opening stock, the purchases, the closing stock, everything is maintained, and MIS reporting is sent to the management just for the understanding point of view, so that the inventory planning can happen, purchase and procurement logistic function can work together to procure all those inventory or raw materials for that matter. And again, a KPI dashboard basically. Once you have presented everything, once the data is ready, analyzed, then you can present the KPI or all those slicer and charts to the management. So all of these things are very much relevant, especially in the corporate world, and certain parts of it very useful in MBA as well. Take for example trackers, take for example planners, budget planners, Gantt charts. All of even the KPI part is also very important once you get into MBA. So guys, I think this was all from a theory point of view that we generally cover. I'll also quickly show my Excel to you, and just for an understanding point of view that what all things gets covered in all of these things. So just very quickly, I'm going to show the Excel to all of you. So since we had discussed Excel sales tracker, and I was giving you one example. So here is a very small, concise data, right? In which you know we give the month's name of the month, salesperson name is there, the target that he has presented or she has presented during the a review meeting, or before the starting of the month, how much is the actuals that they have achieved, what is the variance, and what is the percentage achievement, and what is the status, whether they were on target, whether they were very close to the target, or they have missed the target altogether. So if you see here, all of these things have formulas in it. So here I am using a logical function, which is if function. I'm using the formula if to present. So I have defined bands. So if the percentage of achievement is more than 100%, then it is on target. If the percentage achieved is between 90 to 100%, it means it is near the target, and if it is below that, then it is missing the target. Take for example, we all the cases that I am showing here is between 90 to 100, so I'm not getting this particular formula in it. So if I make the actuals a little lower, take for example, I'm making it 67,000 this one, okay. See, my achievement is 83%, it is lower than 90%, and my this value has changed. So that's how we play with numbers, and that's how our analysis changes, our status is changing, and how we present data, what kind of a data that we get depends on the formula how we are embedding. So if you see these two files, both of them have some formula in it, right? So this is the kind of some kind of a data that we share to the students. First we do the maths, we do the working on it, then we ask the students, the participants, to share the screen, try out some formulas, ask the doubts, and that's how they do it. Once again. Hmm. Yeah. So again, this is a very limited data, and there are more elements to it once we, start having conversation about it. When we start working together in our domain sessions, that's how the understanding would be clear. The data that I'll give you during those sessions will be much larger in nature. You will have many rows, many columns, and each and every step will be having an application of a different formula. That's how. we will learn each and every formula. Okay? So the second example that I had given to you was a HR leave tracker. All right. Again, I have used if function in it. So take for example, I have given you the database of the uh, same employees. All right. And a different uh, thing is that I have given the department also in it. So one is from sales, someone is from finance, someone is from HR, IT, marketing, so on and so forth. And this is leave, out of which how much of a leave uh, they have and how much is the balance leave. Hmm. So basically, these are the three kind of leaves they do have. I'll just show you. Uh, this is a better nomenclature basically, and this is the total use leaves. So just for the understanding, I've changed the nomenclature. So this is the total earned leaves that they get in a year. This is the total sick leave they have. This is the total casual leave they have, and this is the leave that they have used. So now I'm understanding ki how much of a leave balance is required. So again, a simple plus minus addition subtraction formula I've used, and again I have used a if function. If if it is a low balance or a have exceeded the leave limit, suppose he has used the total number of leaves they have is 41. Okay, uh, and suppose the person has used 42 leaves. So my balance will change, my status will change. Suppose a person has used zero leaves, healthy. All right. Suppose a person has used 39 leaves, low balance. So that's how uh, my data will change, and all of these, since these are formula linked, this will automatically get changed. Again, in the real world, in the real lectures, what we do is we give them a again larger data set, different formulas to work with, and that's how the entire story we build around. So this is a budget planner that we have made, in which suppose this is for an individual X. He has budgeted some sort of an income in the upcoming year, suppose. Okay? So he has assumed that his salary is going to be this particular amount. He has a freelancing, so he has some free time, so in which he does a freelancing job. So this is what he makes from freelancing. This is what he gets from rent. Then this is any other income that he's getting. Take, for example, he has sold scrap newspapers or something like that, and any other income that he is getting from it is accounted to it. So he has accounted that he is going to have $160,000. In actuals, this is the final figure that he has gotten. Now we see a plan versus actual part in it. So here there is no variance. Here there is a upward of 7,500 USD. Again, there's nothing different. This is so basically the other income has fallen. Now we see that how much of the achieved his real income or actual income is a percentage of his budgeted income. So again, salary is 100%, freelance income is 137%, and so on. So that's how we analyze the budgets. All right. We have an annual plan at the starting of the year. Then we compare everything after 31st of March once we have closed the books of accounts, and whatever spending we have done, whatever income we have made against different line items, we compare in each every heads. So that's how we make a plan of it. Now, since we had analyzed the incomes, we also going to have a understanding of how do we analyze the uh, expenses. Just a second. Right. So yeah, so we had understood about the budgeted earnings. Now we are talking about the budgeted expense. Suppose this is the plan that he has made and he has budgeted an expense of 92,000 rupees. Now here, uh, the actuals that he has gotten, his groceries have exceeded, right? He has exceeded in grocery, right? He has exceeded in utilities, he has exceeded in entertainment, and he has exceeded in miscellaneous. So you see, everything is having a different color. And if I change something, suppose I make it 4,500, in which he's not exceeding,
Formatting in it, right? And that's how everything is getting changed. So net savings that he has accounted is 65,000. The net savings he has done is 70,800. So pretty much he is in whatever he has planned has happened. Okay. Hmm. Yeah. Suppose so this is the X lookup and V lookup tables that I was talking about. So you see, we have product names, product IDs, and we have a price for it. All right. Now in the second table, we want to find the price of certain items, not for all. So how do I get it? One way is directly you search USB C Club, and that's how you do it manually, right? You find webcam HD, you take, you do it. Okay, there is one way of doing this. The other way is using lookups, in which what we do is we are searching for this value in this table. All right. And that's how we get the find. Once I have entered formula in one cell, I can replicate for all. All right. So that's how I work with lookups. Very easy. Once we get into the actual classes, we'll have a much deeper database, much better database, much complicated database, and that's how I'll work out things together. All right. So this is also a very interesting formula, very useful formula for B school, and especially in your job as well. So here I have used formulas like SUMIFs, uh, COUNTIFs, average if. Everything will be discussed in detail, and we'll be understanding all the formulas. We'll be practicing all the formulas together in all those files that we will be sharing, and that's how we're gonna build a better understanding about it. And this is a dashboard. I haven't given charts in it as of now, because again, putting in charts, because all of those tables were very small, so putting in charts looked very uh, basic in nature. That's why I didn't put charts in it. But once we get into dashboarding also, we'll be having different charts, and all those charts could be used directly into a PowerPoint. So which kind of a chart will be suitable for what kind of a database? That is also one thing that we are going to learn and understand. How to interpret charts in PowerPoint presentation. What is the observation? What kind of observation we should put into slides? What are the things we should avoid writing in slides? All of these things are also discussed in details, and that's how we build some everything from scratch. So this is a typical dashboard just a format or just a bird's eye view what I've tried to give you. What was the total revenue that the company made? What was the total target? This is, you know, okay. This was the target. What was the achievement? What was the number of months? Everything. So that's how salesperson by their performance, everything is getting presented to the management, and that's how we we made a sample dashboard out of it. So guys, I think that was a very briefly I've given you, uh, a glimpse or a very basic understanding of what are the things and how we perform, how we do, Excel training in these sessions. This was a very concise uh, viewpoint that I presented of Excel is a huge ocean altogether, and every day we all learn different things every day, and there is a limitation of everything, of slides and everything. And for an introduction session, I have refrained from going into deeper details, but once we get the sessions live, you will be having a much more in-depth knowledge about uh, different formulas, different shortcut tricks. And we do everything from basic because my audience or my uh, 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 students everyone is not coming from a very good Excel background. People usually into work experience and they join MBA have a different command over an Excel. But people who are coming from a different background, maybe from humanities, maybe from different streams, who might have used Excel quite less. So we start from a level in which everyone uh, get an understanding, and that's how we build the level up. So yeah, this was all from my side. Thank you so much for attending the session. Over to you, Bhaiya. I think I'm done. I'll just quickly go through the comments also. Uh, I think no major comments are there. Maybe we can call it a day. Thank you so much, guys, for attending the session. Uh, hope to see you all in the upcoming live lectures as well. Good luck, all the best.